How are we doing, friends? If you ended up not getting a cold this whole year, hit that like button. And as well, if you got a cold right now, hit that like button because I could relate to you. Friends, I apologize. I got that stuffy nose voice, but I do want to continue to share my experience, my story with you guys on this journey. You got your story, I got mine. We're on this journey together, but individually. The dividend portfolio review continues as time continues to tick. And it's pretty crazy to think that now we're officially in the month of December, the very last month of the year of 2024. You literally will blink and it'll be 2025. One more video for me on this channel for this year, and then it's gonna be 2025, which is insane. But friends, I'm gonna be in Cancun pretty soon, which is awesome. We're finally going on that dream trip I wanted to take my mom on. Anyways, friends, this voice, I know, it's stuffy. But friends, I did want to share with you, I got some real big news for my portfolio. I had to make some really big adjustments, and I'll tell you why. If you've heard some of my earlier videos, you've known it's been in the pipeline for my portfolio, and it finally happened. So we're going to talk about it in this video here today. And as always, I'm going to show you my portfolio. We're going to talk about that new update, give you guys that portfolio review. And the topic for today's video is the adversity of real life investing. And I just want to tell you, because I always want to be transparent with my own journey, right? I want to show you guys and my own adversity for my own investing journey, just as I know you guys have it for yours, right? This investing journey for the middle class person, you know, it's not pretty all the time. Sometimes you have to pick and choose. You know, we're all trying to make it in this life. We all know investing is the way out. So hey, you know, we're all on our journey. We all have a story to tell. So here we are, friends, in the Jesse's cash flow portfolio. We're currently at $95,524.95. We're not at the 100K mark. I'm going to tell you just here from the start, I made a big adjustment. I made a big change. I decided some months ago, and I finally pulled the trigger on it, that I wanted to pay off my car so I can open up $400+ of cash flow every single month. You know, that's what I was paying when I bought my Toyota Camry, my 2014 Toyota Camry, and the highest peak value for used cars, you know, during the pandemic. I don't know if you guys remember that, but my old car gave out. I had to buy a new car, and I didn't buy the car I wanted, like my dream car, obviously, but I did buy a 2014 Toyota Camry with really good miles. It still has really good miles. It's really gone on gas. And, you know, those cars are bulletproof. So, and it's funny, somewhere I read, you know, the most millionaires have like these like bulletproof cars, right? Like Toyotas, Hondas, and things like that. It's just a little fun thing that I've heard. But that's not the reason why I got a Toyota. I had a 2000 Toyota Camry before this 2014 model that I have, and they're bulletproof. So I just wanted to get another one. Long story short, friends, I sold a good chunk of this dividend portfolio to finance paying that debt back. And I had some other little debts that I needed to take care of. And this is life, you know. The only debt that I'm planning to remain with is my student loan debt, which I'm going to probably just continue to sprinkle into over time. You know, those payments are smaller than my $400 chunk. But when you combine it all, and the fact that I got a pay cut earlier this year to advance my career, it was all starting to add up. My dog got neutered, which is like $700. You know, I got a second dog, you know, in addition to my first dog. So it doubled the food, it doubled the expenses there. But, you know, that's love. You know, dogs bring love and another satisfaction to your life. So that to me hasn't really been anything of a complaint. It's just, you know, they had to get neutered, had to get new brakes on my car, and just all these little things, right? The holidays, all these little things start to add up. And when you take a $24,000 pay cut, you know, that money, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel where that money is missing. And then life obviously is going to continue to happen, right? Like these little big expenses. And I started to feel it more and more. And I really felt like I was really losing the wind behind my sail. And I don't like that feeling. So for me, it was not an easy decision, but I did decide to cut from my dividend portfolio. Because I'll be honest, my emergency fund is in this portfolio invested. My money in the bank is very, very limited. What I do is I invest practically all my money, and I don't advise this, but I do work for the state of California, so my job security is very high. So I often, very rarely, if at all, ever worry about getting laid off. But if you don't have an emergency fund, you should have one. And I know that sounds hypocritical, but I work for the state of California. Layoffs, like I said, are very rare. So my income is practically guaranteed, and I have like over 4 or 5 months of paid sick leave, and I have, like 4 weeks of vacation a year, paid. So those are the great benefits of working for the state, right? So I can really leverage that and use that to my advantage when it comes to not having an emergency fund. So when I had to cut, I cut from here, from my dividend portfolio. And it was a very nice psychological thing to hold, a 6-figure dividend portfolio. But we're going to get there again. We just had to take one step back to take 2 steps forward and give myself some wind behind my sail again. Because the idea is I'm going to pay off that car payment. I'm going to get that cash flow again. I'm going to rebalance myself and take it month by month. But eventually the idea is start to invest again into this dividend portfolio. I just like being transparent with you guys. I don't like this at all, if I'm honest with you. It's just hard. It is hard, and I don't like it. It is what it is at this point, but hey, I'm gonna have a paid 2014 Toyota Camry with under 100,000 miles on it. I'm happy. I still got this. I still got my job. I work from home. I'm happy. I got a good relationship. Focus on all the things that matter. You know what I mean? The money, it'll come. It'll be there as long as you do the other things right. Yeah, we'll start with that. But as you will soon see, friends, I'll give you all the details of what it is that I sold when we get to the activity section. But for now, this is the all-time chart. You're going to see a big chunk here being sold. We were at $100,700 right before I sold, and I sold almost $4,600, I believe, something like that. I sold a big chunk, and I'll explain why a little bit later in the video. But obviously, a good chunk is to pay off my car, like I've already said. But that's the chart there, friends. My dividends earned all time at $7,559. We're gonna see what the after effect of this sell is gonna cause to the data of the portfolio. I literally just sold yesterday on Friday. It might take some time for my portfolio ultimately to rebalance, but we'll see. As far as like my best performer, it continues to be tech at 479%. If we click on it, obviously I didn't sell Nvidia, so I will go into detail of the holdings that I did sell, to give me that money. Obviously I did not touch tech. You'll see soon which ones I did touch, and then I'll explain why. But Nvidia continues to kind of lead the charge here, and it continues to unbalance, this sector here, but it's Nvidia. I'll allow it. But apart from tech, friends, financials, energy, industrials, everything is in the green, which is nice. It's just showing you how the markets are moving. I have consumer staples barely in the red, practically flat, and then healthcare continues to be in the red. And I will show you here, because we're here already, some adjustments that I made. Tech, I increased by 1 percentage point, because I'm going to let you know here, the companies that I mainly sold were in healthcare. So healthcare used to be around 5% of my portfolio. I decreased it to 3%. It's just been performing very poorly overall for quite some time. The holdings that I have in there are, they're okay. They're dividend payers, but I've just been keeping eyes on it for a while, and it was an easy move for me to make. So I lowered this overall down to 3%. I put 1 percentage point into energy and another one into tech. I think for the most part, those were the main changes that I did for the portfolio there in terms of sector allocation percentages. So going into the activity section now, friends, everything in the green here, they're dividend, payments. These are buys because I do have the drip activated. It's important to say. Another thing important to say here is I don't currently fund my portfolio, which I was alluding to in the beginning segment, of this portfolio review. But my plan is to eventually get back to that. I like to describe that as the wind behind my sails, right? Right now I'm not funding anything, so I don't have the wind behind my sails. I'm just out at sea, kind of stuck, right? Stuck in this current position. Before it was 100,000, now it's 95,000. And I'm just investing what I'm dripping. And I'm going to continue to do this because I have to continue to see what my next move is going to be after really just kicking up a bunch of dust right now. I kicked up a bunch of dust by selling a lot of this portfolio. In my eyes, this was a lot, about around $4,700. But once the dust settles, I'll kind of pick and choose my next move. But I have to kind of wait and see. As for now, I'm going to hold still. I'm not going to fund anything. We're just going to drip. And we're going to see what makes the most sense from here. Obviously, it's getting my financial situation in order, stabilizing for my pay cut this year. That's priority. As far as my sells, I'll show you. I sold Medtronic. I sold all my Medtronic. I looked into it. It's been, kind of stagnant, and it's been in the red for a while, and it's just an easy one for me to cut off. So I just cut it off. I parted ways by Medtronic, and then I also sold some Pfizer and some Johnson & Johnson because it was part of my healthcare sector, which I decreased overall. So again, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. We'll see how it affects my dividend yield, but ultimately that was an easy move for me to make. It was my worst performing sector. That's why I easily just went to attack it and cut pieces out. So in total, I sold an amount of $3,658. The order was fulfilled. This was yesterday, or the day I'm recording this, yesterday on Friday, and I withdrew $3,660. Some of it was, partially the cash that I had in my portfolio. I just like even numbers. And then I also decided to sell a little bit more to give myself a little bit more dry powder. So I sold another $1,100, and I'll show you. I sold the last little tidbit of Medtronic because they were trying to hold on to it for some reason, my portfolio. I was like, no, we're going to cut that off. So completely removed Medtronic. Now we should be down to, I believe, 49 holdings. Eventually, I think the portfolio will update and show that. But I did cut off some UGI. UGI is one of those that, I've been keeping an eye on too. It's been on it was like a lower hanging fruit, if you will. I didn't want to get rid of it completely. I still like being diversified. So I still kept a good chunk, but I sold $500. I was like, give it a haircut. And I was holding quite a bit of it. So it was quite easy for me to do that psychologically. And then Pfizer, I was like, let me cut a little bit more of this because Pfizer is one of those that lately hasn't been doing well. It almost seems like it's paying a nice yield, but it's losing value. So I was like, let me cut a little bit more. And then ADM, I actually held a lot of ADM, so I decided to cut that by $250, give it a little haircut. And yeah, that's how I got my $1,100 by selling those four. So in total, I withdrew $4,760. That'll be enough to pay off my car and also have a little bit extra in my reserve because I do have some payments I need to kind of get out the way, some little tiny debts. Some like those little pay payments that you have monthly. I need to get rid of some of those, and we're just going to continue to move forward. This is just one step back. We got to continue forward, but these are those moments, right? This is my topic for the video, is showing you this is the adversity in a journey that you're going to face when you're investing. Some people lose it all, and I feel really bad for the people in those situations when that happens. For me, I do feel something, like I feel like it was very difficult for me to do, but on the bright side, I'm very well in my planning still. It's just when things don't go as planned, they don't go as planned, and you have to take that ego check, and you got to get hit with that, and then you got to process it, and you got to just kind of soothe yourself and let yourself know, hey, this is a journey. Like, it's gonna not look pretty sometimes, and that's how it is. This is one moment you're seeing for me. When I started this portfolio at the very beginning, these are things you don't see happening, but they happen because this is life as time continues to tick. Let's jump into the holdings here. I want to show you just like the best performer. It looks like it's NVIDIA, 967%. Let's get some nice positive news. In other news, I'm just going to touch on this because I mentioned it as a story on one of my other videos when I told you I actually held one Bitcoin about 3 or 4 years ago, and I sold for like the worst sell ever, right? Because that one ended up losing me money and is nowhere near 100,000. But yeah, Bitcoin hit 100,000 like I knew it would. I mean, at this point, that thing has a lot of wind under its sails, but it's also very volatile. So you gotta be careful. 1 minute it's 102,000, the next minute it's 96,000. So it loses like $6,000. That's Bitcoin. But apart from NVIDIA, friends, Oracle, ExxonMobil, Aflac, IBM, these are all doing really well for me. And I have a couple in the red. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10 total. So it was easy for me to cut, some Pfizer because it has been performing poorly for the last bit. ADM, obviously, I kind of cut because it was performing poorly. UGI was actually doing okay, but I held quite a bit and I wanted to hold less of it. And then Johnson & Johnson, it's solid, but again, I was holding quite a bit and I gave it a haircut. I gave my whole healthcare sector a haircut. It's crazy, that news that just happened with that CEO for United Health Group. Man, you know? Deny, what was it? Deny, defend, depose. Oh man, that was crazy, huh? Anyways, friends, let's get to the topic for this week's video. All right, friends, so here we are. As you saw in the video this week, it's me being transparent with you guys, showing you the average adversity of real life investing, right? It's someone like me who's a nurse for a trade. I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy by any means. I'm 29 years old, I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to build my nest egg. But this is real life, these are those things you have to do. I'll even backtrack. I took the risk and I invested in my career, right? I went back to get my master's degree, which cost me about $18,000. And the next job that I got was one where I work from home, which is beautiful, but it is an entry level. And because of that, I did get a pay cut of $24,000 this year. And, from there, it led to this. It led to feeling that impact, So speaking on that job cut, that's been hard. That's been a hard thing, but I still get paid well. It's just your lifestyle inflates and you come back to a different lifestyle. And that's this part 2 here, is recalibrating that lifestyle. I left my higher paying job of working as a prison nurse in May, at the very end of May, practically June 1st, you can say. So we've had June, July, August, September, October, November, 5 full months to recalibrate. And every single month, I felt it a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, because I had a little bit saved up, and I just kept going into my cash reserves, and it took 5 months, and here I am now. Hey, I feel it the most. Like I've been adapting. Like the thing is, I've been adapting along the way. I was investing in my dividends, started to invest a little less. Now I'm not investing at all. Now I'm just dripping. So it's all these little things that have been happening over the course of these 5 months. I call it recalibrating my lifestyle. That's new. That's a challenge. I haven't had to do that before. And here I am now in December saying, all right, this is one of my, this was one of the things I was not hoping would happen, was expecting would happen, I think is a better word. I have to do it, which is to pay my car payment off so I can get that cash flow back, because I need that cash flow to create that wind under my sails, because I don't like living paycheck to paycheck. I still invest a lot in therapy. That's another thing. I used to do therapy every week, and I do therapy every other week. So again, these are those things that I've been doing over time. So selling my dividend portfolio, a chunk of it this large, was my very last option. And I'm here. That's why I'm here now. I've had to do it. I've had to sell that chunk. And this is me recalibrating that lifestyle. Friends, at some point this may happen to you. Just understand it's not the end of the world. It is an ego hit. Hitting that psychological milestone of 100K was beautiful. I wanted to hold on to it. But the fact is, this is life, and time is going to continue to tick. So focus on the things that you're doing right? And I'll give you examples for me. For me, I got a state job. Like I said, I can leverage all those really good benefits of it. Job stability, paid sick leave, paid vacation time, the pension working in the background, the 457B I'm capable of investing in, which I still invest only $100, but I still have a little lifeline in that. But, leverage those benefits that you have. Those are the ones that I have. Have a solid relationship where my relationship isn't bringing me problems. Like, that's a beautiful thing, right? I'm going to Cancun here pretty soon, kind of like last year I went to Greece. I'm living life. You have to learn to live life. And that's something I had to learn. Luckily, my beautiful partner helped me to learn that. Otherwise, I would just work myself to the grave and never really experience life. So you have to find that work-life balance. Enjoy your life. Find those things that make you happy. Spend some money on those things. And you have to do that. So taking my mom to Cancun is going to be one of those things I'll remember for the rest of my life, even though financially I'm quite strapped. But it's worth it. We paid for that earlier this year when I was losing my job. But again, it was worth it. And when I say losing my job, losing my higher paying job, I still obviously had a job. But I did pay for that Cancun trip right around that time, back in June. This is life. These are the adversities that you will see just in general. And I wanted to show you. I want you guys to be part of my story. I like being transparent with you guys. I like showing you guys every other week my portfolio, telling you the journey that I'm in, the little parts that I'm in, and you see the story unfold over time. So that way, in the future, decades ahead, we'll look back and this whole thing was part of it. All of this was part of it. All right, friends, and I'm going to end this video with one last little thing that I wanted to mention that I found out. Maybe you're a younger individual like me. Maybe you're naive in a way like me, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm speaking about myself. I had no idea. I bought my car through CarMax. I've been putting in additional payments, throughout the year. They've just been sitting there. They were literally just sitting there in their account, not going towards the principal of my car. They paid off the interest that I've acquired or accumulated, and they haven't been adding any of those extra funds to the principal. I guess I literally have to call and tell them, hey, those $900 that you're holding there, can you apply that to the principal of my car payment total? You have to call and manually tell them that. Otherwise, they hold it in a bank. Prior to this month, I had $1,300 in there, right? My car payment is $400. They're just taking my money and putting it in this bank in there. So I actually found out I owe less on my car than what I initially thought, because it doesn't tell you right away. If you look on CarMax, look on their balance, it'll tell you what the actual balance is. If you go to the statement, which I looked on, I'm just curious, let me look at the statement. The statement actually said I had paid over $1,300, and it was just sitting there. And my next payment isn't due until March 2025, but because I have an auto pay, $400 has still been going in every single month towards that car, and CarMax has just been holding it. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, I guess a lot of simple interest loans are like this, like some probably mortgages. I don't have a house, so I don't know, right? Car payments, things like that. So interesting. Just my little 2 cents of advice for you. A lot of you guys are older, wiser than I am, in a lot of senses. So you guys already probably know this. I'm just letting you know to the people that don't know, if that makes sense, because I didn't know. I found that out. I'm quite bitter right now with CarMax, but I guess that's common for car loans. So I found that out at 29 years old. I'm going to tell anybody I know now, so you know what I didn't know, so you don't find out like I did. Anyways, friends, that's going to be it for this week's video. If you bared this voice today, it should be better the next time we make this video, and it should even be happier because I'll be going to Cancun. So enjoy yourselves, find that balance in your life. Don't take your money too seriously, but also still have a plan that's necessary. See you guys on the next video.